Dion, you're going to be very surprised, in fact, because so far the crowd out here has not heard what we have heard, that the AP has, in fact, called this race for Rick Scott. It happened just about 2 minutes ago. They've been watching the large screens out here, but many of them are oblivious to at least one major news agency now calling this race. Let me explain to you why it is that the AP has likely come to the conclusion that it has, even with a few of the votes still outstanding. The biggest counties that still had a small percentage of votes yet to count were Miami-Dade and Broward County. That is Fort Lauderdale and Miami. When you do the math, it may sound a bit geeky, but the remaining percentage of outstanding votes in those areas was only about 3 or 4% now. Granted, there are hundreds of thousands of people in those areas, but when you break those numbers down, if the vote were continue to trend exactly the way it has all night for Scott and Crist would probably be able to make up about 8,400 votes in the Broward County area and about 20,000 votes in the Miami-Dade area. That's a total of 28,000, and that is simply not going to be enough, according to the AP, to make up the ground of the difference between the two candidates at this point. The only question would be with the other outlying counties is whether or not there was still enough of a voting gap to drive this into an automatic recount. And at this point, because those counties still would be leaning towards Scott, that seems unlikely. So again, we're waiting to hear the reaction from the crowd here at Scott HQ in Bonita Springs. But as of right now, the monitors that the people have been watching here have not yet repeated the AP's call in this race for Governor Rick Scott.